This is Lance Wallnau with Firewall and my trusty research associate, Mercedes Sparks. This week has been one of the most amazing weeks for people that have been exercising self-control all year during the election fiasco. Now we get to listen to the self-righteous and hypocritical left as they lecture all of us on the virtues of law and order. This is the same people that gave us the summer of riots, and then after defunding the police chants weren't working, they decided to seal Washington with barbed wire and 30,000 troops, all at a cost of $400 million, by the way, that you're going to pay for to protect themselves from a threat of an actor with horns on his head. So what we want to do now is I want to go into the question that everybody was asking. Unless, Mercedes, you want to say something before I go into my Dinesh D'Souza moment. Is there anything you want to add to this?
No, I think I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
All right, well, I just, I don't want to get lectured about this later on and say I didn't let you say something. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Everybody's thinking one thing. The whole time the impeachment melodrama is going on, which is obviously it's theater, it's theatrics. Always remember this, we're living in the media age. Most of anything that's being televised in those chambers, Democrats are sending a message. Republicans, unfortunately, don't understand messaging yet. They're simply trying to do a case. Although they are kind of like waking up a little bit. But what I want you to catch is this. Everybody's asking one question in the back of their mind. What are you talking about by amplifying the incident on January 6th, which, if we really look at it, doesn't compare at all to the summer of rage that we put up with? And we always suspected that the left was controlling with a budget and organization the whole rage through the cities of America for 4 months. And then we found out in the Time magazine article last week that they actually take credit for it because they were able to restrain 400 demonstrations with one hand because they didn't want to have the unsightly demonstrations showing up when it was clear they were beating Trump and would probably hold the executive branch. So let's take a look at what Dinesh D'Souza says, because he sums it up perfectly. Dinesh, take it.
What is the one thing that's in everybody's mind while we're watching them? What's in everybody's mind is, what about the far greater violence that we've been seeing on television and even around us for months? Wouldn't it be smarter for the House managers to admit, guys, you know what? We acknowledge that there's been a lot of political violence in America. We acknowledge that people have taken over courthouses and set fire to churches, and they have accosted people in dining in outdoor restaurants. We acknowledge that there's been Antifa and there's been Black Lives Matter, so that we think, however, that that violence is not as bad as the violence that occurred in the Capitol. Why? Because this is the seat of government. You can see the argument could go 2 or 3 different ways, but the basic idea here would be to distinguish, try to make an attempt to separate the violence from the left with the violence from the so-called insurrectionists. So the question is, what are the House managers dead silent on this critical topic? Why have they said nothing about it, pretending like it doesn't exist, and thus crippling their own argument? Because that is you may almost call it, elephant in the living room. That's the dog that hasn't barked. That's what on everybody's mind. And here's why they can't do it. Because it's not simply a matter of them saying that there's violence from the left and the right, but everybody knows that the left incited the violence. The left used it. They defended it. They put up bail money for it. They apologized for it. They called for it to continue, in the words of Kamala Harris. In other words, violence is part of their playbook. And if you look at the left and the Democrats' position, their real position is something like this. Violence is good when it happens from our side, but it's bad when it happens from your side. We get to do it. It's part of our playbook. But we're going to make sure it's not in your playbook at all.
Boy, doesn't it says it all right there. It says it all. The violence on the left is acceptable. But the moment you have, and this is constant, the moment you have one manifestation of their behavior on the right, oh boy, it's like lock down the nation and set the intelligence community on high alert, because we have to deal with the domestic Al-Qaedas in costumes on the Capitol. Okay, Mercedes, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this and I like this term I've heard thrown around called liberal privilege. It's that liberals have, like there's white privilege, liberals have a special privilege that the rest of us don't have. And so they get to say and do whatever they want and aren't held to the same standards they hold everybody else to. So it's very confusing what the rules are, who the rules apply to, but most of the time the rules don't apply to the Democrats. And, you know, we have a great clip talking about just these different, like upholding law and order that our production team has pulled. I think it would be great to play that right now.
Contrast the president's repeated condemnations of violence with the rhetoric from his opponents.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
The vast majority of the protests have been peaceful.
Republicans stand for law and order, and we stand for justice.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
My administration will always stand against violence, mayhem, and disorder.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I stand with the heroes of law enforcement.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
We will never defund our police. Together, we will ensure that America is a nation of law and order.
We were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
We just want law and order. Everybody wants that.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We want law and order. We have to have law and order.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
We believe in safe streets, secure communities, and we believe in law and order.
It's so funny. Like, who remembers when Madonna, right after the inauguration of Trump, called for the White House to be blown up? Or the comedian, I forget the comedian's name, where she had a head of Donald Trump's
Kathy
head.
Gifford.
Kathy Gifford. Not Kathy Gifford, is it?
Well,
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Ray, yeah, whatever. Well,
Yeah.
Kathy Lee Gifford was with Regis.
Exactly.
Okay, forget that. That wasn't her. Right.
But that's my point. It's such a double standard. It's called liberal privilege. They can do and say whatever they want and are not held to any type of accountability. And when we, say words like fight, oh, we got to fight for our freedom. Now it's like, it's insurrection. You're calling for inciting riots. And
But
so it's just...
The word fight. Mr. Producer, we got to get that segment out on the fight thing, because this is driving me a bit nuts now with this manipulation of the English language. Watch this. You can't use the word fight, by the way, anymore.
Whose side are you on? Who are you fighting for?
They're fighting, I'm fighting. We're both fighting.
We will fight back. We're not going to just take this line down.
I'm just going to keep the fight up.
What we have to do right now is fight as hard as we can.
We have to rise up and fight back.
And so we're going to fight, and we're going to continue to fight.
I am going to be fighting like hell.
Keep fighting, or we kept fighting and we did. So we're going to keep fighting.
We have to be fighting every single day.
We have to fight back, and we have no choice but to do that. I think we're doing the right thing to do that.
Fighting.
And I'm fighting.
Well, our job right now is to fight.
It's really important. I'm going to keep fighting.
I'm asking for the support of people across the country to fight back.
And you got to be fierce in fighting.
Keep fighting.
Brown have been fighting.
I've told President Biden I will fight like mad.
I'll tell you what, now more than ever, we have to fight like hell.
Oh,
what in the world? I'll tell you what, I'm resisting the urge right now to break out into an incited demonstration and attack my picture of the Capitol over here to my right. So I want to fight. I want to fight. That's how fighting I am right now.
Oh man, all that rhetoric. And the guy there at the end, I'm gonna fight like hell. I'm like, I don't really think you could fight anybody right now.
No, well, that comes to the Mitch McConnell school of senatorial urgency.
Totally.
None of those guys could incite a riot, even with just cause. So here's the deal. Why does America put up with this? This is the thing that makes me so nuts at night, why I want to get out of this business of even cultural commentary. Because it's so obvious, it's so blatant, that there's the language isn't even purpose, the two playbooks. There's this realm of real mental, I'm saying it's like an illness of sorts that is taken over, the cancel culture that will not allow anyone to have an opinion that disagrees with himself. And it's getting very dangerous. It's getting to the point where it's a lot more mischievous than people think, because the technology oligarchs have the ability, with the intelligence community, to go to the next level. And it's like I keep hoping that, well, they know this is politics, right? This is politics, so at some point they kind of stop doing it. No, it's becoming a belief system, which is why we wrote in a book. We actually put a book together to predict this, that there is a new religion that's stalking America. With the decline of Judeo-Christianity comes the fake awakening. The fake awakening is the woke religion of cultural Marxism. And at its genesis, it is intent on destroying everything. Now, we don't even have, we've got a couple of segments I want to still cover here, because the national anthem is constantly coming under attack. I want to take a look at Mark Cuban, because he is the wannabe populist leader. He's like the rich guy, business guy that says, oh, Trump could do it. I could do better than Trump. And he just doesn't know it. He's absolutely, he's like the lousy audition for the role of Trump. But I do want to cover a little bit of that when we get back here with our next segment. You don't want to miss it, because we're just getting started, and there's things we have to talk about. And we'll be back in a moment to cover all of them. Firewall with Lance Wallnau and Mercedes Sparks. Stay with us.